Oh, so we're already live with the next Penelope race to Odysseus or Odysseus, I'm not sure. You know what, chat, y'all can try to figure that out on your own. Be even better if you argue about it in donation comments. Just saying. But if we are ready to count down, I am ready to go. So should I just go ahead and count down?
Yep, feel free to count down and Restreamer will start the timer accordingly.
Awesome. Okay, well, 3, 2, 1, let's go! So this is the next Penelope race to Odysseus. It is a top-down racing game. It is an indie title that was made by a single person, and it is fantastic, especially whenever you consider that this was made by just one person. It's a very technical run, it's a very interesting run, and on top of that, it is a BSB classic because the very first Buckeye Speed Bash, I ran this game, and we had some very large technical issues during that run that made running the game itself very difficult. So hopefully this will be a much better video. Um, wait. I am hearing. What in the world happened? Apparently, the video has died in in RTMP. So I am going to try to I'm just if let's see. Okay, that is actually video. I am very sorry about that. Let's see if that actually works. Okay, let's see. Is game feed now moving? I believe game feed is now moving. I think OBS just wanted to be a little bit of a jerk.
Just wanted to confirm that your game feed is moving on our end now.
Okay, well, sorry about that. I guess it's time for a reset. So, should we go down with the timer again?
Yes, I do believe Rowdy is all set to go.
Okay, so 3, 2, 1, let's go again. So, sorry about that, folks. Now, this is the real start to the next Penelope race to Odysseus. Um, this game is a modern retelling of, well, not even a modern retelling, a sci fi retelling of Homer's Odyssey, except instead of, being or playing as Odysseus, we actually play as his wife, Penelope. Hence the title of the next Penelope race to Odysseus, as we try to chase down Odysseus and tell him, "You're being a real jerk," you know? This game was again made by a single developer. It's pretty incredible for being just one man team. And here we go. There is the first skip of the run. We, instead of going straight over that jump, we just did a little loop-de-loop and came right back down. So now we get to this next stage here. This game is part top down racer, part F Zero, part Mega Man, and part shmup. So where the F Zero part of that equation comes in is right here, in that we have unlocked the turbo. Now, turbo is really cool. It allows us to go fast, but just like F Zero games, it takes a lot of energy to use it. So we want to use it as much as possible, but we don't want to waste all of our energy. And that was. I wonder. Okay, is VLC is completely frozen now? Oh well. I wonder if Restreaming to personal Twitch might work better. But anyway, we are in the first track here. This is a racing game, and every single world we visit has a 5-lap race in it. So this is our first race. We're already on lap 3. We're moving along really quickly. And we just want to, beat this race as fast as possible, use up as much of energy as possible, but, not die. We also unlocked a gun that we could use to shoot down the other racers. That's actually really slow, so we're not going to mess with that. We're just going to drive around really quickly and get through the game that way.
Congratulations.
Let's see. I'm going to see. We're having some problems with VLC. I'm going to just wait a second here. I'm going to ask, should I stop or keep going? Yeah, so sorry about all of this VLC issues and just... But you know what? Our restream server seems to be working fine just now. We had to reset some things, but I think we're good now. So with that in mind, third time is the charm. So Next Penelope, race to Odysseus. Hey, let's go. 3, 2, 1, start. Okay. So again, this is Next Penelope, race to Odysseus. Third time you've heard this, but just in case anybody stumbles across this and comes in at this point, this is a wonderful top-down racing game that was developed by a single dev, Regard, a French developer. It combines F-Zero, Mega Man, shmup into one really interesting little package, and it's quite an interesting little speedrun. So the point of the speedrun is that we want to complete all of the necessary worlds to beat the game as fast as possible. We can choose what order we do those worlds in, but the first world is always the same, the opening stage. This is the first skip of the game. We do a little whoop instead of taking the straight path, and we skip quite a bit of the course. But, hey, it works. And as you can see, we get experience points for each race we do. Getting experience points is actually really important, not just to the game casually, but to the speedrun. And we do route the game on experience points, because experience points allow us to buy upgrades for our ships, and we are just going to use the boost here to go through really quickly. And while I'm going through this level here as fast as possible, if we got time for a donation.
That's a coincidence, because we indeed have a donation. Dr. Maddie donates $10 saying, "Good luck, great runs." Short, simple, and sweet.
Thank you, Dr. Maddie. It's always a pleasure. So the way this game works in the different worlds and different planets you visit, each one has a level that introduces the power-up you unlock in that world. So this world, in the opening stage, we unlocked the booster and our simple gun, which we're not going to use right now because it's just faster to outrace the other racers than try to shoot them down. And each planet has a 5-lap race, so we're in the 5-lap race of this introductory planet, and we're already on lap 3, so that's moving along really quickly. So every single planet we visit unlocks a new power-up, and we actually go into a shmup section at the end of that planet using that new power-up to try to defeat a boss. Like a Mega Man game, we can choose the planets in any order and therefore change the route quite a bit based on what planet we go into and what power-ups we get first. So, with that in mind, we are going to go to this planet over here, the Orbital Ruins, to get the most broken power-up in the game very first. And this power-up is the Vampire Mines. Now, the Vampire Mines are very strong in races, not in boss fights.
3, 2, 1.
Okay, I
Weapons activated.
seemed to make a little mistake, but we're moving along just fine now. So, what the Vampire Mines do is that whenever we drop them down, they get health back for us if an enemy racer runs over them. If we run over them ourselves, then it does massive amounts of damage to us. So, we went to turbo often, but driving into health refill zones to refill our turbo and our energy is very slow. What this means is, if I use the Vampire Mines perfectly, I can get all of the health I ever need in races by simply blowing up the other racers with the Vampire Mines, getting health from them, and going on my merry way. So that is why we make sure to get this power up first. Bouncing off that other enemy, that other driver seemed to cause a bit of problems. But I will get quite a bit of health back, as you can see, every time an enemy hits a Vampire Mine. And I have to be very careful about the Vampire Mines actually blowing up, because again, if I run over my own Vampire Mine, it will cause massive amounts of damage to me. So I am constantly listening for audio cues of if I hear the Vampire Mines actually explode. Now, first Buckeye Speed Bash, we had some technical difficulties, and we could either have the game's audio going to the stream or go to us in the room. So I did this run without that audio cue, and it was a nightmare and a half. But, you know, hey, now we've actually got a working stream, so I don't need to do that. I can actually listen to when those mines blow up and not have to worry about it at all. And this 5-lap race is down. So, as I mentioned earlier, there are shmup sections to this game, and we'll see the first one in our first boss fight as soon as I finish this race. So, I'm not actually going to lay any more Vampire Mines, I'm just going to drive as quickly as I can. I lied. I tried to get a Vampire Mine on that guy, but I missed. But there we go. This race is done.
Congratulations.
And here is our first boss fight, which is indeed a shmup section. It is 2 massive tanks controlled by the Sirens. And how this boss fight works is that I'm supposed to take a bunch of damage if I drive inside those tanks, but you know, as long as I lay mines down inside their hitbox, the mines explode instantly and give me health back. So I don't actually take that much damage from, you know, that contact. And the boss fight goes much faster than normal. So we go to the next planet here, which in a casual playthrough is going to be the last planet you visit, because this is by far the hardest race in the game. But we're going to it very early in the speedrun, because it gets us this power-up here, which is the Harpoon. Now, as I mentioned earlier, every race, every planet does a shmup section where we need to make sure to blow up whatever giant boss is sitting at the end of the planet. And that is very time-consuming. What's handy, though, is that this harpoon, we can shoot it at the same time as we shoot our normal gun. So, what this means is that if I go into a boss fight and spam both harpoon and plasma gun, the bosses will just, their health will just melt away really quickly. So getting this power up very early, even though this is the planet that you would probably visit last in a casual playthrough, just makes the run go much quicker. So the first area there was a challenge teaching you how to use the harpoon. We had to catch 8 different larvae that just come out of the ground. They appear in random spots on the track on the planet, but as long as we collect 8 of them, hey, that's the end of that level. So we got our 8, and now we have a race here. And as you can tell, the other racers are quite a bit faster than us, but good driving and very good use of the vampire mines will get us back up to speed very quickly. So here we go. I drop a vampire mine right there, and I drop 2 more vampire mines right there. I drop a vampire mine right there, and I've hit the other 2 racers that are in front of me already, and I've got full health, meaning that I can just turbo along. So even though this is by far a very difficult race that you would normally be coming into with many more upgrades to your ship, just good use of the vampire mines means that we can go quite a bit faster than intended, and we just beat this race very, very quickly. It's a really handy tool to have. Now, the next boss fight, which again, you know, is a shmup section, is a very difficult fight. We can never stop moving. You can go slow or you can go fast, but there is no stopping this vehicle. So we have to circle around a giant boss that can kill us if we have any contact damage with them whatsoever. And they have a giant laser. So we can't stop moving, we can't brake, and we need to circle around them. And on top of that, we should have other upgrades that would make the fight much easier at this point. But again, this is any percent route. We just want to get through the game as fast as possible, which means getting the harpoon as fast as possible also. So what I'm actually going to do is do the most difficult part of the run right here, which is dance around this boss, take away his shield here by pulling off all of these pieces with the harpoon. There's a little bit of finesse to that, but we just grab 1, grab 2, and let's leave a few mines there to hit him. And I'm just going to barely dance around this guy and hit him with the harpoon and the plasma gun at the same time. Wow, I deal with all of these explosions going on around me. I call this the little dance of death, but we got that boss fight down perfectly. And the planet is complete. So now we have the harpoon and the vampire mines, and we go to the easiest planet to actually deal with, which is the Minotaur Maze. So the power-up we unlock in this planet is the teleporter. The teleporter allows us to just teleport through walls. Hearing that, you would think, man, that would be an awesome speedrun power. Well, as you can see here, the teleport has a very long animation. So even though we could say in-game time, it saves a bunch of time. With how long that animation is, there's very few races where it's actually worth using the teleporter. So, as a power-up, it's not incredibly handy. However, even though we could put this particular planet anywhere in the route, because it's a really poor power-up, it's not a power-up we actually need for the run, we do this race here because we need the experience points in this planet before we do other planets. So we're getting to the point where we're going to be having to see how many experience points we have and how well we're doing on that route. So, you know, let's just get the teleporter, get out of this planet, and get the experience points for beating this boss. So this race here, you can't just teleport back and forth over the finish line. The teleporter, there are invisible checkpoints all over these tracks that try to prevent you from teleporting to spots that you're not supposed to. But since we do have the teleporter now, let's go ahead and save a little bit of time by just teleporting around in some unattended ways. You can see the game really lags, so it only saves a few seconds. Saves like maybe a second per lap getting all these teleports correctly, but you know, a second saved over 5 laps, you know, that's not bad. So let's go ahead and make sure to do that. But yeah, it's quite a laggy power up, this teleporter, especially whenever you're using it in ways that are not intended at all. But we're already on the final lap, and we will beat the final boss of this world, the Minotaur, as soon as we get through this particular race. So the Minotaur is a really nasty boss fight, actually. Not because of how much health he has or how great of a shot the Minotaur is, but because there are instant death traps littering the track that we are fighting this guy on. So any of the pink bars you see across the track, they're instant death, and I cannot touch them, so I have to teleport around them while also shooting this guy with the plasma gun and the harpoon at the same time. I got a harpoon shot through the wall. So here we go, there's our first teleport. We've got pretty good health, and we beat that boss in 2 cycles, 1 teleport, which is the best fight possible. So that worked out really well. So now we're going to go to what's a really difficult world, which is Hades, Archeon's Vapors. We're going to face Archeon, who is leading souls to their death.
Get ready. 3,
The difficult part of this planet is that there are no track bumpers, meaning that you can just go off the edge at any time, and all your power-ups are removed in this world. So we just want to drive through as carefully as possible, and I need 60 more experience points before the next planet. So we're right on track for that. And that was the first track in this game. Now, I did mention that there are no bumpers on these tracks, and you should die as soon as you drive off, but it takes a few frames for the death animation to start. So as long as you drive off the track and drive back on,
2, 1.
really quickly, you don't actually die. What that means is that we could skip sections of the track where the track is really close together, like there, and I just skipped over 2/3 of this track by doing that, and I skipped a large section of the past track using that same trick. So yeah, these 2 past races went way quicker than the intended route, but you know, it works. We win. So the boss fight of this planet, Archeon's Vapors, is Archeon himself. Charon is leading hundreds of pilot souls to their doom to Hades, and we thought Odysseus was among these doomed souls, but he's not, so we need to catch up to Charon and say, hey, let us go. I don't want to be led away to my doom. I'm not actually dead yet. So this track, I just need to catch up to him. The way this guy's AI works is he slows down. Well, he speeds up anytime you are turning. So I can just tap turn instead of holding the turn button, which confuses the AI, which makes that boss go much slower down the track than normal, which means that I'm able to catch up to him very quickly, and that boss is defeated. So now we're going to use all the wonderful experience points that we've been getting to buy the Resilience upgrade. Resilience will give us an extra bar of health, and why this is important is because it's going to help us a ton with a skip in this planet right here. This is the Fortress City, and Arachne is a boss fight where the shmup elements really come into play, and they try to just kill you outright by shooting you down in every part of this world.
3, 2.
That being said, we've unlocked a new power-up, which is the Black Crystal. The Black Crystal, as long as you hold it down, will turn any enemy shots into experience points. It takes a lot of health, so having an extra bar of health means that instead of doing this race I could just sit in front of that guy, turn all of his shots to experience points, and you have two options in that race. Complete the race or get 100 experience points. So I use my extra health to just sit in front of him, get 100 experience points, and the race ends.
3, 2,
So now we
1.
go into our final 5-lap race of this speedrun. And as you can tell, it's a bit more hectic than the last races. You can see that I'm getting shot at quite a lot more. So having that power up of extra health it's pretty stinking handy at this point. So we're going to make good use of that. So I'm in second place in this track. There are also speed upgrades for your vehicle that we could be using our experience points on. However, in the any % route, we only have just enough experience points to buy the resilience upgrade, which allowed us to do that skip back there. So it's a much better use of our experience points to just spend it all buying resilience instead of grinding for extra speed. So we're actually traveling quite a bit slower than all the other vehicles in all these races, but since I'm using turbo pretty much constantly thanks to the vampire mines and my good use of blowing up the other ships to get health back, I don't actually ever really need to slow down, so it doesn't really come into play. But lap 3, it's been going really well. I'm a bit low on health, but you know, some of the other racers are starting to explode, so I'm getting health back, and yeah, you know, I can drive just fine. Let's see, there we go. I even planted a bomb on that guy as I was driving by. So yeah, we got pretty good health, and we're just doing a really good time. So maybe on these last 2 laps, would we want to mention what we're raising money for?
Absolutely. Sorry about that delay. We are raising money for WaterAid. WaterAid is a charity nonprofit that has been working since 1981 to fulfill their mission to ensure that everyone everywhere has clean water, reliable toilets, and hygiene within a generation.
It's a pretty important cause. So, I mean, I would be really happy if people started donating much more for it. I mean, I've made 2 donations this marathon myself. It'd be nice if all of you did too. But I think we've raised, what, 1,192? Something like that? No, 1,112? I don't know. There we go. That is the end of that track. And we are now on to just boss fights. The rest of the game is only boss fights. And this is Arachne. Let's see if I can get a 2 cycle on this fight. So Arachne really shoots a lot of stuff at us. But if I can get a lot of damage on him through here, I can get the 2 cycle. That was awesome. Yeah, he's supposed to bounce around a lot over the screen, and we got a 2 cycle on him. So that was really nice. So now we've beat all the necessary planets to unlock the final boss fights of this game. So the final boss fights here are against Odysseus himself. Again, we are Penelope, Odysseus's husband, Odysseus's wife in Homer's Odyssey, and we're trying to chase him down. But before we can chase him down, Neptune comes out of the ocean and tries to mess up our reunion. So we've got to take down Neptune here. Neptune is a really difficult boss fight. Every single shot I take takes energy away from me, like an F-Zero game. So I need to, you know, have really good aim and never miss, or otherwise I'm using up my health for nothing. But this guy has so much health that even if I never get hit and every single one of my shots hits him, I would die because I would not have enough health to take him down. So you have to hit him with the vampire mines and one of his cycles to gain back health to be able to actually fully defeat him. So that's what I did, and now I'm just in this war of attrition. There we go. That is that boss down, and now on to Odysseus himself. So be ready on final time. This is the final boss fight. Odysseus also has a ton of health, so I need to be able to hit him with the vampire mines to get enough health back to be able to defeat him. But, you know, he actually has a really easy cycle to do that on, so that's kind of what I'm doing here. So yeah, we got a lot of damage on him. And now I just need to dodge all of these attacks and just keep hitting him. Yeah, we're going to win this fight. Yep, there we go. That is fight down, and time. That was a really awesome run. That was by far my best marathon show I think I've ever had of the game. What was final?
Awesome run, Cosmic.
23-33. I really enjoyed that run. That went really well. It went really, really well.
Yeah. Yeah, definitely. My apologies, by the way. For some reason, my microphone does not appear to like unmuting right now.
Don't worry about it. But yeah, yeah, the final part of the game is like saying, Penelope, you know, I defeated Poseidon, and I defeated Odysseus because he was trying to destroy the world, and I didn't want to fight my own husband, but now I'm afraid I'll become Odysseus one day myself. So, a bunch of people tried to come back and say, Penelope, why don't you marry us? And she's like, I'm not going to come back. And the game ends. And I believe it's going to be Outpost 2 by Crow coming up here. And I believe the Eden campaign won, so stick around for that. You will all enjoy it a lot.